Shoana has tips and tricks for organizing your herbs and spices, and I can see already that Shoana has a lot of spices. Okay, Shoana, how do you keep track of them all?
Okay, I do have a lot of spices, you're right. I cook a lot, so I know not everyone's going to have quite as many as I do, but I've also lived most of my life in very, very small apartments, so I know that this kind of system and these tips work for small spaces as well. I've been there. So the very, very first tip I would say is pull everything out. I'm sure everyone's got the mishmash of jars and containers and packaging. You really have to know what you're working with. You need to know, do you have doubles? Like, I guarantee you, I did, I've been there. You know, have you got 2 packages of basil leaves or 2 containers of salt or whatever it is? Group them all together so you know that you've got rid of all your doubles. Maybe it's a time to clean out, just like cleaning out your wardrobe. Clean out your spices. Is there this random spice you bought for one recipe, you hated the recipe, and you're never going to use it again? Then move it along. It doesn't need to stay in your house as well.
Okay, just like the closet, we're going to start with pulling everything out and knowing exactly what you have and where it's hidden. And I like the fact that I see things in different packages, the little yellow spice packages, which we have way too many of. So This is a really good first step. Now, once you've taken account of what you have, now you have to decide how you want to store them, right?
Yeah. So my absolute favorite way to store spices is in this simple, basic, humble, classic mason jar. They tick all the boxes for me. They come in all sorts of different sizes, so you can get the size that will suit your space that you have. I love them because they're see-through, so you can see how much you have left of the spices. They're glass, so they won't hold the smells. They've got a classic design. They're easy to keep clean. They're easy to label.
See, I love that you're using mason jars. They make so much sense. We use them for everything. And I love this next part. You actually treat this process with mathematical precision. Of course she does. Please reveal your spice drawer, and then we'll talk about how you figured this out. We're ready.
Okay, here's my spice drawer. So this is totally my world. Like I like, you guys all know, after all these years, I like things very organized. Now here's the kind of mathematical part. Pull out the drawer or a cupboard that you have, whatever your space is that you have, and it's as simple as lining up all of the containers down one side and across the other side. And then just multiply it, and that's how much space you have in your, whether it be cupboard or drawer. It's not that hard. It feels so daunting, but it'll take you like a minute or two. Nothing, because you buy the mason jars as like a 12-pack usually at all the different grocery stores and hardware stores. So once you know the jars that you're dealing with, then you know exactly how many you need and how many spices you'll be able to fit into your jar, and there should be no leftover packaging.
Wow, that's a thing of beauty. Like, that's goals right there. And I thought that part was great, but there's an even more fun part. And I think this is your favorite part. And I think we're talking about labeling.
Yeah. Yes, labeling is definitely the most fun part for me. So here are my tips when it comes to labeling. Have really clear labels. Don't get carried away with design. Use simple print or font just so you can be able to open your cupboard or open your drawer and be able to grab the one that you want really easily. And you also want to look for labels that are water resistant for a spice jar. I mean, they're going to get messy because you're cooking with them. You want to be able to wipe them clean. And something that is white and the right size that fits. And the reason why I say white or black with white writing, you just want it to really stand out. And a great source for labels for something like this, instead of printing them yourself, because you want that water resistant, is I got mine from Etsy. The shop called Peony Prints CA, they're the ones who did where I got my labels from, and that way they can print them on that appropriate paper in the right kind of ink that makes them that wipeable kind of style. But while I was organizing them, you'd want to put these labels on last because it's a messy job putting all of the spices and the herbs into the jars. So I just literally used masking tape and threw on temporary labels onto the jars, so I could make sure I had everything there, and then when it was time to put the proper labels on, I could take the masking tape off, give it a wipe to make sure they'd stick properly. This is a job you only need to do once for many, many years, so do it right the first time. Once I got them onto the jars, they were all done, and then of course, You have to do this part. You have to put them in alphabetical order. I know that's going to sound like taking it to another level for some of you, but it makes them easy to find. I promise you, it's do it once and it'll last you for the longest time.
I love this. Okay, I noticed there's a couple of empty jars in your drawer. Is that for new spices to come?
Yeah, thanks. That's a great thing. I also when I ordered these labels, I asked for a couple of blank labels. And exactly, I left space for, I don't know, spices that I haven't discovered yet or that I might want to add to my repertoire or my spice library. Oh, let's call this a spice library in the future. So there's just these 3 jars waiting for things to come, and they just hold the spot.
Very good lesson. And even though I'm never going to do it, I like looking at yours. I'm never going to look at my spice drawer the same again, Shoans. It's so good. I'm just going to go to your house and open your drawer. It's very satisfying.
Okay.